Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is December 10th, 2019, and these news are brought to you by Negative Supply. If you don't know Negative Supply, they're a small company making a little ecosystem to help you digitize your film with a digital camera. So for those who have scanners and are happy with their workflow with 35, because it's pretty hard to get it without a dedicated 35 scanner and it can be very slow, you can now use Negative Supply to basically hold your film very flat and advance very easily. I actually used my 35 Mark 1 device to scan this weekend, did 9 rolls of 35 in around an hour. So that gives you, approximation how fast it was. And the slowest part of my whole process was my camera was slow and my software was slow. But if you have a fast camera and whatnot, it's really fast. So first of all, let's start with the biggest news this week is Ektachrome has been kind of leaked through Japan, and Ektachrome is, Kodak has catched up with releasing the 120 format and 4x5 Ektachrome. So as you know, Kodak discontinued slide film a couple years ago, brought back Ektachrome in 35, and now has released it in 120 medium format film and 4x5 in 10 sheets in a box. So the 120 will be available in Europe very soon at 13.5 pounds a roll. I think $18 a roll. So it's not inexpensive at all. And 4x5 we don't know yet, but it's probably going to be a lot of money too. 10 sheets. And don't forget the Fuji still has Provia Velvia in sheet film and it's cheaper. And I know a lot of people are angry with Fuji, but you got to remember Kodak, we love you, but Fuji's still there. And it's a very feasible option for a good price nowadays. It used to be very expensive. Now Kodak has released theirs, so it's made Fuji cheap. So don't forget that. But it's very big news. Plus, we all know that Kodak announced Ektachrome in 120 and 4x5 on a Tuesday, so it could be in my news. So thank you, Kodak. Everyone else, remember, Tuesday is the day to release your news. Coming apart from that, Kodak has also said on their Instagram stories, which is an interesting place to announce things, that they're working on releasing E6 chemistry, which is my main concern, considering that Tetana was going through some struggling. And they're going to be coming out with E6 test strips for those professional labs or very hardcore amateurs, like one of my Patreons that actually does his own C41 test strips and so on. So there's more about that Patreon later because he's done something pretty cool. So also from Kodak, we do know that their price increase is going to start in January 1st. And now we know it's going to be around 15 to 30%. So I wonder if that will affect Ektachrome too, or Ektachrome will be the price I just announced. But I hope the price increase will be according to the price range. So for example, Kodak Color Plus will have a 30% and Portra 800 will only have like a 15% because it's already way more expensive in, difference between films. But we don't know yet. So we'll see what the price increase is per lineup. Hopefully it'll be applied on the higher spectrum to the lower spectrum and, lower percentage to the higher price points. And also in Europe, as we know, we're pretty much screwed because the pricing is really high compared to the US, but that's part of the game, I guess. Then, in other news, I bumped into an interesting device called the Star Agitator. So we all know that regular 35mm 120 tanks, developing tanks that are not the Jobo continuous rotation are usually done by inversion. So we have to do this and then we tap it so the bubbles come out, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows that. That's developed before. This device is like a little magnetic stirrer. If you've never seen those, they're pretty cool. But instead of stirring with a magnetic little fly, whatever they're called in English, they're called la mosca in Spanish. It kind of just vibrates your chemicals. So you don't have to agitate, which is kind of interesting. I wonder how consistency is. But if they're announcing it, they must have tested it out. It's made by this company, I think, in Wales or Scotland. I'm probably going to get bashed in the comments for that. But somewhere there. And it just agitates, like those exercise machines, your tank. And I don't know if you can program it so you can agitate it on its own. Or you got to press the button every time. Makes it equally annoying compared to, inversion. But they do say that you get always your hands wet because some tanks don't seal well and whatnot. So this alleviates that problem. Or maybe you're handicapped in some way. I'm not saying anything in a bad way, but some people that shoot film might be handicapped or don't have one hand, or or missing an arm or whatever. You could use one finger to basically press the little agitation. So that could be a good option if you're one of those people. It's 59 pounds, which is not super expensive, but pretty cool. I thought it was interesting. Another thing I have forgotten to mention in my news, and I've been seeing this developing for a while, is Ryuuzaki Julio has been making, and I'm saying his name probably horrible, so sorry for that, has been working on a Mamiya RZ67 remote that works with your phone. So this device plugs to your camera, and on your phone you can do multiple exposures, you can do long exposure and such. So that's pretty cool. The device is already out there. Some people have been using it already, so that's why I'm also announcing it. Here it's $116 for the little dongle and then the app on your phone. But for those people using Mamiya RZ67 and you want to do that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. Then we have Ferrania. Last week, Ferrania announced that they had a little video answering questions on how things have been going throughout the years after months of silence. And I made a video, an opinion video on that. I think I posted it on Thursday when they opened the store. So they've opened the store in the US with P30 in 35mm format. And you can only buy 10 rolls. So, no store kind of like buys a bunch and upscales the price and resells or whatever. So that's pretty good news. There will be opening store for the rest of the world, in Europe and such, in Asia, very soon, but they have limited quantities. Their main problem is finishing the film or converting the film to finished product. But it's good to see Ferrania back in the game with continuous production and so on. So if you want to watch the opinion video, you can let me know what you think about my video. Someone was very nice and left a great comment there. You should check it out. But yeah, let's go to the next news. Pixl-ltr has had a little small bump. Once again, a little part that now is not too big, but too small. So once again, there's a little delay and there's an update. If you don't know, Hamish Gill has made this little device to scan. It's a little slower than something like the negative supply, but it is very inexpensive. Lets you do different formats by moving the little pieces of like the Legos that go into it, and it will be coming very soon. So you can check the update there. Then Titi Artisan, that is not Seven Artisans, the third-party manufacturer of Leica lenses, has announced a 21mm f1.5. So if you're a Leica shooter and you like the 21 and you don't want to go with the Voigtlander lenses, which are inexpensive and pretty good, or the Leica lenses, which are very expensive and very good, you can now go for the 21 1.5. It's big, but it's pretty inexpensive, around $430 US, so you can check it out. Also, friend of the channel and friend of the show, Catlabs, has released the second batch of their ISO 80 film, black and white, and that's pretty cool. They fixed a couple minor incidents with gluing tab at the end of the 120, which he will return or change if you had any issues with it. So if you had a problem with a faulty roll, he'll give you a new roll. But that's pretty cool to see, black and white, small scale film. And it's not rebranded film. But that's something I'm working on a different video about that. A lot of people were saying it was rebranded film. It is made in the same factory that they make another film, but it's not rebranded film, just so you know. Then Stenopeika has released that Hyper 3 camera that I announced last week, but now there's a price. It's 327 euros. And something that I liked a lot is now he's changed to the Linhof Technica lens board. So that's pretty cool. If you're into inexpensive 4x5 cameras, 327 euros is pretty good deal nowadays. Then one of my Patreons sent me an Instax Graflok 4x5 back. So basically Instax wide device that you press a button and it comes, your Instax picture comes out, and the whole device looks pretty cool. It's sold on eBay, so you've got eBay protection with PayPal, but it's pretty cool to see something like that at the moment. Then on a Facebook group, and I announced this a couple months ago about a Kickstarter campaign for these people that invented like what is the brand? Nova, like the Nova print washer and all this. They've made, this is the inventor of this device and his son have made the print washer. It's also for developing paper and developing film. They've made it and they've announced that they're opening the store now. I will leave the link below. I couldn't find it when I was preparing the news, but I will find it before. And they'll be translating the instructions to other languages. I actually opted to help them do it to Spanish, which is my native language, if you're ever wondering. So that's pretty cool. So if you're needing something to develop film in slots and maybe sheet film, that's a pretty cool device. And then coming to that Patreon I mentioned before about the test strips, Derek, one of my Patreons and friend, we have a WhatsApp group, which is pretty fun for Patreons. If you're a Patreon, you can let me know, has bought a Jobo CPP3, and when he bought it, there's a problem with the Jobo in the back that has like a little drain or overflow hose, but it's pretty complicated to understand how to do it, and I actually had to wank it higher because the level or the water level was too low, and it must be some security reasons from the electronics in the Jobo. Basically, you have to like make it taller. So Derek has made a 3D plans or device that you adjust to or you put onto the normal hose of the Jobo, and it will give you a higher water level, drain and a breathing little exhaust. So I'm leaving that below. It's free. It's on Thingiverse. You can download it, print it yourself, and adjust it to it. He included pictures of the 3D model and his way of putting it on his Jobo, which I think is pretty cool. Because a lot of people have been asking me, and it's not an easy solution, and some people don't want to give that extra torque that might break it because all this is plastic. Then, something else for the news, and I wasn't expecting to say it, but basically I just got myself this book. It's the Nicholas Nixon 40 years, about 40 years. Bought it on Amazon US for $8. I saw that today it was €6. Shipped it to Spain for another $8. For $16 or euros, I can't remember exactly. I bought this book. It's totally worth the price. I'll leave the link below. It will be affiliated, so you can go ahead and buy a bunch of socks for Christmas. But I really like this book. I'm working on a piece on Nicholas Nixon for the YouTube channel. This was one of the books I was missing. I think you guys should take it. And that price is ridiculous. 6, 7, 8 euros or dollars is really inexpensive for it. Some people have been bumping into a different price, so let me know, because that shouldn't be like that on Amazon, but who knows. And the last, Acros 100 version 2 has been getting to people's hands around the world because a lot of people are shipping it from Japan. And Roger from Shoot Film Like a Boss made, to me, the best video comparing both. He shot some portraits, he printed the pictures, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it's wrong to scan or whatever, but like when you print a film in the same, circumstances of enlarger and chemistry and time and all that, you can really see the differences. When you scan, the software always does some, interpretation, and then depending on what you developed or whatnot, I really like this video by Roger. To me, it just makes it not feasible to make a video on the new Acros, even though I have a roll. I feel like not making it because Roger did such a good job. I highly recommend it. I'm sure you guys know about Roger's channel, Shoot Film Like a Boss. You should totally subscribe. So yeah, that's it for the news this week. Thanks again to Negative Supply for sponsoring the show. Oh, you should see Matt Day made a review on the Negative Supply and is doing a giveaway. So you should go over there, leave a comment, and you can opt to a 35mm Mark I device. And also Matt Day got to 100K subscribers, so congrats to him. But yeah, if you want one of those Negative Supplies, and also thank you for sponsoring the show, basically, Negative Supply. So yeah, as always, you can send an email to the email below. See you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.